Welcome to part 1B of my Luke Skywalker Character Analysis. If you haven't seen part 1A yet, then I highly encourage you to do so. I'll throw up the title card and place a link in the description to them. In today's video, I'll continue my case for Luke Skywalker as the greatest Star Wars character, looking at his role in Episode 4. So without further ado, let's get into it. It's here that the team is thrown into their first obstacle together that would either make or break them. With Han and Leia being accustomed to being in charge, it's no surprise that they get off on the wrong foot, so Luke acts as the glue that brings them together for a common cause.
Get away from there!
You forget it! I already tried it! It's magnetically sealed!
Put that thing away! You're gonna get us all killed!
Absolutely, your worship. Look, I had everything under control till you let us down here.
With tensions already high, matters get worse when Luke begins to realize that they're not alone.
It's worse.
There's something alive in here.
That's your imagination.
Something just moved past my leg.
Luke is pulled in and nearly drowned by the Dianaga, only to be released when the walls begin to cave in. In this moment, everyone sets aside their differences to contribute, with Leia making proper commands to buy the team time, and Han and Chewie acting as the muscle to execute on their plan. But what truly saves the day is Luke's ability to think under pressure, and his presence of mind to remember that 3PO and R2, the least assuming characters, could be of help.
3PO! Come in, 3PO!
3PO! Where could he be?
3PO? We've had some problems.
Will you shut up and listen to me? Shut down all the
Garbage mashers on the detention level, will ya? Do you copy?
Shut down all the garbage mashers on the detention level!
This action would save their skins, as Luke proves to be a great leader, as this would be one of countless times that his faith in his friends would bring them success.
Listen to them, they're dying, R2. Curse my metal body, I wasn't fast enough, it's all my fault. My poor master.
We're all right! You did great!
Although, even with a much needed victory under their belt, Luke would still have to act as the mediator between Han and Leia. In particular Han, as he always seems to be looking for a fight.
To just avoid any more female advice, we gotta be able to get out of here.
Well, let's get moving.
To avoid any further confrontation, Luke immediately responds in a neutral way, trying to steer the conversation in a better direction, but unfortunately, some things are just unavoidable.
Look, your worshipfulness, let's get one thing straight. I take orders from just one person, me.
So one day you're still alive. Will somebody get this big walking carpet out of my way?
No reward is worth this.
And so, the team would now focus on reaching the ship safely, on the hopes that Obi-Wan completed his end of the mission. But as usual, they would find some resistance along the way.
Get back to the ship! Where are you going? Come back!
Certainly has courage.
Good will it do us if he gets himself killed. Come on.
Luke understands that bravery and courage has a line that can go from confidence to arrogance and recklessness. Either way, Luke is willing to take advantage of Han's distraction and use it to get Leia to safety. It's in this moment the knight is solely responsible for protecting the princess, but it's not a one-sided effort, as both Luke and Leia contribute greatly to escaping the stormtroopers. When they reach the chasm, Luke's recklessness is on display as he makes a quick decision to destroy the controls to close the door and buy them some time. However though, he destroyed the controls.
Find the controls that extend the bridge.
I think I just blasted him.
They're coming through!
Luke then adapts and uses his creativity to get out of the situation, and once again, he shows trust in his team by deferring to Leia to provide cover fire, knowing that she's comfortable and capable with the blaster, meanwhile prepping the grappling hook. And as they traverse the bridge, an iconic shot is made as the knight swings across the chasm with the princess. It's through this that Luke is beginning to come into his own as he makes it past this obstacle. The team regroups and the final moments of the ordeal come to fruition as the life crisis is upon them, unfortunately at the cost of losing the mentor. Obi-Wan locks eyes with his young apprentice, surveys the situation, and chooses to sacrifice himself. Luke is in shock at the loss of his master, and in his anger, he's willing to take on the entire Empire on his own, being deaf to Han and Leia's pleas to escape, only then listening to Obi-Wan's spirit, being the guardian angel on his shoulder. In the moment, Luke may not realize it, but Obi-Wan sacrificed himself so that he could live on and fulfill his destiny. Luke has the tools he needs to succeed, along with the princess and the plans to give the rebellion a fighting chance. Obi-Wan's sacrifice drives home the point that to be good is to be selfless. To save others is the ultimate good in the world, an idea that Luke would need to understand on his journey to becoming a hero, and to save his father years later. Upon leaving the Death Star, Luke enters the stage of the reward, After surviving the ordeal, the hero seizes the sword, a reward that they've earned that allows them to take on the biggest conflict. It may be a physical item or a piece of knowledge or wisdom that will help them persevere. Luke has saved the princess and retrieved the Death Star plans, now armed with the knowledge to destroy the space station and stop the Empire in their tracks. Luke is also armed with the knowledge, wisdom, and confidence that he can be successful going forward, as he managed to do all these things without Obi-Wan, so he's in a position where he can heroically lead the team on his own. Unfortunately though, this reward comes at the cost of Obi-Wan's life, with Luke still mourning the loss.
Can't believe he's gone.
Leia is there to console Luke in this desperate time, something that Luke would always value from her. The impact of Obi-Wan is clearly seen in Luke as he mourns his loss more so than anyone, as he was always what he wanted from Anakin, a father figure. A reminder that sometimes we don't realize what someone means to us until they're gone. As the team makes their way to the rebel base, they would reach the stage known as the Road Back, where the hero sees the light at the end of the tunnel, but they're about to face even more tests and challenges, with the first test coming in the form of the TIE fighters that make a last-ditch effort to halt their escape. After being in a negative mindset from losing Ben, this scene allows for Luke to bounce back from one of his lower moments, having the chance to defend the Falcon and gaining another win against the Empire, giving Luke a bit of confidence moving forward.
I got him! Great kid! Don't get cocky!
This scene also allows another moment where Han and Luke can work together and build more chemistry. After all that the two have been through together, it would provide more reason for Han's return at the end of the film.
Your friend is quite a mercenary. I wonder if he really cares about anything. Or anybody.
I care.
A reminder that Luke and Han are very much opposites, and simply a reminder of what makes Luke special, the fact that he cares. He cares about making a difference and what others think of him. And he also cares about Leia.
What do you think of her, hon?
Trying not to, kid.
Good.
Still out of spirit. What do you think? Do you think a princess and a guy like me?
No.
While Han and Luke may not always see eye to eye, the relationship is beginning to blossom as Han is acting more like a friend rather than just a business partner, which is why he takes Luke's words to heart later in the film when he calls him out on his selfishness. Also, it's just funny to see Luke's petty side. And so, the team makes it to Yavin and successfully brings the plans to the rebels. There they can decipher a weakness and turn the tide on the war, no matter how slim the odds may be.
That's impossible, even for a computer.
But it's not impossible. I used to bullseye womp rats in my T-16 back home. They're not much bigger than 2 meters.
Once again, what makes Luke special is that he's willing to believe that anything is possible. The average man would quickly feel like the odds are against him, but Luke chooses to think otherwise, albeit in part he thinks it's possible because he's done it before. Either way, Luke is capable of succeeding where others fail, primarily because of his confidence and belief that he can succeed. The very thing he will need going into the climax as he faces his greatest challenge yet.
So, you got your reward and you're just leaving then?
That's right, yeah. Got some old debts I gotta pay off with this stuff. Even if I didn't, you don't think I'd be fool enough to stick around here, do you?
Luke is simply disappointed. They've been through a lot together and he'd hoped that Han might have changed for the better. Of course, Han chooses to take the money and run, and what's worse is he doubles down on it. Han doesn't realize that it's truly a false reward until after Luke calls him out on his greed and selfish ways.
Why'd you come with us? Pretty good in a fight. Could use you.
Come on. Why don't you take a look around? You know what's about to happen, what they're up against. They could use a good pilot like you. You're turning your back on them.
Luke fundamentally disagrees with everything that Han is saying. For Luke, the decision to help is simple, because he believes that if you can help, you should, where Han prioritizes his own safety before others.
What good's the reward if you ain't around to use it? Besides, attacking that battle station ain't my idea of courage. It's more like suicide.
Again, it's the selfless versus selfish ideals at odds with each other, where Han's selfish philosophy makes him incapable of seeing things from Luke's point of view, which is why he mistakenly asks him to leave with him.
Well, take care of yourself, Han. I guess that's what you're best at, isn't it?
When Luke calls him out, it clearly strikes a chord with him, no matter how much he tries to deny it.
What are you looking at? I know what I'm doing.
At this point, he's only trying to lie to himself and convince himself that Luke and Obi-Wan haven't rubbed off on him. Which brings another important aspect of Luke, the positive impact that he can have on others. In this case, making a hero out of a scoundrel.
Hey, Luke. May the Force be with you.
Han may not want to stick around, but he wishes Luke the best. It's in this moment that we see that Luke has achieved the impossible. as he's made a man defined by his self-interest a bit more compassionate.
What's wrong?
Oh, it's Han. I don't know. I really thought he changed his mind.
He's got to follow his own path. No one can choose it for him.
I only wish Ben were here.
Luke's intuition is correct, but Han just hasn't accepted it yet, which is why Leia points out the most important aspect, which is that Han must come to this realization on his own. Luke has already played his part in positively impacting Han's character arc. Luke also wishes Ben was there because life has become complicated, and a wise mentor can usually have the answers that the apprentice seeks. But like in the example with Han, Luke is learning very quickly that some of life's lessons must be discovered on your own.
Hey, you coming up with
I'll be right up there with you, and have I got stories to tell you?
Among his peers, Luke is loved and respected. He understands the importance of camaraderie and being a team player. He's willing to make the same sacrifice that any other soldier would, and that elevates his status as a leader among others. So in return, he receives praise from those that know him, like Biggs.
You sure you can handle this ship? Sir, Luke is the best bush pilot in the Outer Rim territories. You'll do all right.
Thank you, sir. I'll try.
I gotta get aboard. We'll hear all your stories when we get back, all right?
Right. Hey, Biggs. I told you I'd make it someday.
It's a small moment with a character we just met, but its significance is still very important. Biggs represents Luke's home and childhood, and it gives Luke such a confidence boost that he can say that he's grown up and finally making an impact on the galaxy. That he finally is getting to live his dream of going on adventures and serving a greater purpose beyond the life of a farmer on a desolate planet. Overall, he may be saying this to Biggs, but he's really saying it to himself and those who doubted him.
R2 unit of your seat's a bit beat up. You want a new one? Not on your life. That little droid and I have been through a lot together. You okay, R2? Good.
Even the background characters of the world seem to underestimate R2, taking him for something old and beat up. Luke's belief in others shines once again. He values what R2 has done for him to the same degree as any of his other friends, displaying confidence in his abilities even when others doubt him, and in return, getting the best out of R2.
Luke, the Force will be with you.
Not only are his friends at his side, but the guardian angel on Luke's shoulders as he prepares to take on the evil Empire. And the penultimate stage is set for the resurrection, or popularly known as the climax, where the hero faces a final test, using everything that they've learned to take on the conflict once and for all. Here, Luke and the rebels take on the Death Star, the ultimate weapon in the universe. This space station is responsible for the loss of billions of lives and represents a worst-case scenario of ruling by fear. So Luke, who symbolizes hope, must directly fight against this, as the fate of the galaxy depends on it. In this tale of the hero's journey, the Death Star also fills the age-old archetype of the castle, filled with guards, defenses, a dungeon with a princess, a king, and a moat. It's also where the shadow resides and possesses the most power, and the hero must use his wit and craftiness in order to find success. So Luke must use his supreme skill as a pilot to fight against this technological terror.
Luke, trust your feelings.
As the battle persists, many lives are lost, with each death spelling closer doom to the rebellion and the galaxy as a whole, giving a more real look at the consequences of adventure, as unfortunately, not everyone that fights for freedom will be able to experience it along with those that they fought alongside. So with their numbers dwindling, Luke begins to take command.
We're going in full throttle. That ought to keep those fighters off our back.
Right with you, boss.
When their leader goes down, Luke instantly seizes the moment and doesn't crumble under the pressure. He shows great poise in this time of conflict, and his peers respect him for it and obey his orders, with Wedge immediately deferring to him as boss. Where he once needed Obi-Wan's help to get him out of trouble, he's learned from his adventures on the Death Star and has begun to develop into a leader and a hero.
Luke, at that speed, will you be able to pull out in time?
Be just like Beggar's Canyon back home. Watch yourself. Increase speed full throttle.
What about that tower?
You worry about those fighters. I'll worry about the tower.
Even when others question him, Luke chooses to never second-guess himself, understanding the importance of reassuring the team in the plan in order to instill confidence in them.
I'm hit. I can't stay with you.
Get clear, Wedge. You can't do any more good back there.
Luke also shows compassion for others as he orders Wedge to get to safety, where comparatively, in the earlier trench run attempts, the leader just continued in an attempt to save everyone, forgetting what they were truly fighting for.
Almost there.
I can't hold them.
It's away! Negative. It didn't go in.
Unfortunately though, as implied earlier, not everyone can be saved, as Luke still loses his close friend in Biggs in the process, being the last piece of home that's gone from his life, as the Empire have now taken away everything from Luke's past. Now it's just Luke and Vader. There's a bit of surprise and respect there from Vader as he realizes Luke's potential.
Use the Force, Luke. Let go.
The Force is strong in this one.
Luke, trust me.
Obi-Wan reminds Luke that this is no different to his training with the remote. His eyes can deceive him just like the targeting computer can.
His computer's off. Luke, you switched off your targeting computer. What's wrong?
Nothing. I'm all right.
Just like having the blast shield down, he seems to be going in blind, but in reality, he can see more clearly than ever because he's going in with the confidence that he can do it without needing to rely on the targeting computer, the very thing that represents his eyes with the remote. And after Han comes back to help Luke, Luke focuses on the shot and feels the Force flow through him, and it obeys his commands, hitting the exhaust port with ease.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Han returns to help Luke as his words from earlier got through to him, and he also believes in Luke as a person, showing one of the greatest aspects of a hero, as someone that can inspire others to do good and have a positive change on their life. Luke's selfless nature rubbed off on Han, and now he's one step closer in his arc from selfish smuggler to selfless general. The Shadow Invader is defeated due to Luke and his faith in his friends, starting the trend of Luke being saved by someone in every movie, a testament to his ability to believe in others, which makes sense because as the New Hope, he must be one of the most optimistic characters in the series, one that does and should not need to see to believe.
Come back, I just knew it. Well, I was gonna let you get all the credit and take all the reward.
Hey, I knew that was more to you than money.
Again, his belief in others is one of his strongest weapons, as it's the very thing that saves the galaxy. And lastly, we reach the final stage, where the hero brings their knowledge of the elixir back to the ordinary world. Luke and Han return to Yavin triumphant and receive medals for their heroics, with peace being restored to the galaxy. Luke returns to the ordinary world with the power of the Force and the confidence to do anything, as he truly believes that anything is possible. He can relish in this moment alongside his friends as, at least for now, he's completed his hero's journey. The Force is with him, but he's not a Jedi yet. But he sure is a hero, one that can inspire others to do what they feel is right. He got to experience the life of a hero, one filled with adventure and excitement, obtaining knowledge, power, and even a legendary weapon, as his success with them has brought peace and prosperity to the rebellion. But soon he will learn that the life of a hero can be a challenging one where with great power comes great responsibility. But for now, he solidifies himself as the everyman hero, or simply put, the hero of 1,000 faces. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I had a ton of fun making this video, so if you enjoyed it too, then I highly suggest liking the video, and if you want to see more like it, then definitely hit subscribe. And if you want to be notified when part 2 comes out, then hit the bell for notifications, or consider checking out my Patreon, where I'll be uploading videos there significantly sooner than on YouTube. So part 2 should be available there as I speak, and the same will apply to the next parts when they come out. And on that note, I want to give a shout out to my patrons. Your support means everything to me. And finally, let me know in the comments which Star Wars character is the greatest hero and why. And who knows, they might be in the next one. Until next time, I'll be at the Tashi station picking up some power converters.